Hey, I'm Kevin from Godlike, and I'm here with my partner in crime, PJZ, on the night of the supermoon. And we're here at Godlike HQ, and I wanted to introduce you to the new TWA Great Divide. We showed this pedal at the NAMM show, and ever since we've been inundated with emails and phone calls and just smoke signals, whatever, people trying to figure out what this thing is and what it does and how it works, how it tracks on guitar, how it tracks on bass, blah, blah, blah. And so we wanted to sit down with you and just do a real down and dirty run through of the pedal and give you some details about it. So this is the latest version of the pedal, and this is just about what you're going to get from the production version. We added a couple things since the NAMM show, and I'll explain those to you right now. So basically, the Great Divide is an analog multi-voiced octave divider, and it also has some digital controllers that allow you to save some of the presets and do some other neat little things. There are 5 variable voices, and they're all selectable, and we're going to start with just the dry voice, and we're going to take you through each voice and show you what it can do, and PJ's going to play a little bit on each voice, and then we're going to combine some of them and show you some of the different sounds you can get. So basically, when you power up the pedal and we've hit clear, and clear clears all the memory for the first preset, and it just gives you dry voice. So this is basically your clean guitar passing through the pedal circuit right now, see? And each voice has a corresponding LED, which is the bar of the division symbol, and you can subsequently shut these voices on and off as well by pressing each button below the slider. Okay, so we're going to start with dry, and originally we had this set where there's a center detent on the sliders, and that center detent was unity gain, but we decided that the pedal itself sounded a little better if we were a little hotter than unity gain. So at the center detent right now, it's about 6 dB above unity. And then as you raise it up, you're going to hear the volume differences. So play a little bit, PJ, and we'll let people hear this. First I'm going to start it with the pedal disengaged, and then we'll engage it and just show you the amount of boost on the dry. Even at that hottest level, he's actually overdriving the preamp on our amp here a little bit. So you know, again, which sometimes sounds nice. So there you go. So that's the dry voice, and then the next voice we're going to introduce you to is octave down. And again, this is an analog octave down, and it tracks basically 1 octave below whatever note PJ is playing. And a lot of people were concerned about how the octave tracks. It is a very important feature of any analog octave unit. Again, this is analog, so we're not triggering a sample that's stored in here. This is actually processing the incoming waveform and smashing it up. So this is the 1 octave down voice. We're going to set them even with the dry at the center detent, and then we're going to mix them around a little bit, and you can hear how they sound against one another. And one thing that's cool about the Great Divide is even just slight movements on the sliders dramatically affects the tonality of the pedal and what's coming out of it. So you get, it's just like there's an amazing amount of tonality and different sounds in this pedal. But right now, dry and octave down. Just the octave down. Then dry back in. There's a little. So that's dry, an octave down. There's also an octave up voice, And again, 100% analog. And so what this is basically is an Octavia circuit, and it uses basically a certain type of distortion circuit to create an upper octave harmonic, which is you know, an octave above whatever PJ's playing. Go ahead, play a little bit. And one thing that we have on our octave up voice, which we haven't seen on any other analog Octavia or octave divider circuit, is this envelope control setting. Basically what the envelope does is it actually allows the note you're playing to swell into the upper octave harmonic. And if you watch the LED on the octave up slider, you'll see it blink on and off as PJ plays. And what it's doing is it's showing you actually the note envelope as it blends into the upper octave harmonic. And it just adds a little more bite and a little more insanity to whatever PJ's playing. So here you go. Okay, so there you have it. Those are the first three voices, and after this is where we start to get into some of the more interesting things that the GD can do. So the fourth voice we call sub, and sub is basically a selectable voice, and you could select between 1 octave down, 1.5 octaves down, 2 octaves down, or 2.6 octaves down. And then again, continuously blendable with the other voices. So we're also we're just going to start with 1 octave down, and we're going to show you what the pedal sounds like. And basically, so with 1 octave down, you've got your other octave down, so you're running 2 octaves down at the same time off of the root note that PJ's playing, and this just thickens things up. Also, the tonality of the 2 octave voices is slightly different, so by blending them together, you can get a lot of different tonality with it. In addition, inside the pedal itself, there's a low-pass filter trimmer for each octave voice, so you can even set them in here to be more dramatically different to get some pretty interesting effects. So we're going to start with just we'll shut off the octave up, and we'll just have dry with 1 octave down and another 1 octave down. Now we're going to switch to from 1 octave down to 1.5 octaves down. So what you're getting is, with the sub, you're getting 1.5 octaves below the root note that PJ's playing. And a lot of vintage analog synths had the ability to tune your oscillators, and so this was a nice kind of a popular setting among vintage synth enthusiasts, where they would set one oscillator at a fifth below the other one. and you just get some really nice thick sounds with it. So here we go. So we've got dry, 1 octave down, and 1.5 octaves. Okay, and now we're going to switch to 2 octaves down. So again, this is a full 2 octaves below the root note being played, and we're just going to solo it for now. So you got dry and 2 octaves down, and then I'm going to engage the 1 octave down as well, and you could hear all 3 octaves. Okay, and last but not least is the 2.6 octaves down from the original note that PJ's playing. And the 2.6 setting is interesting because it was kind of one of those beautiful mistakes that you find when you're engineering a pedal. And our engineer Robert added it in kind of just as a goof because he thought it sounded cool. And we wound up liking it so much that we incorporated it into the actual circuit. So here it is. You've got dry, octave down, and 2.6 octaves down below the original note that PJ is playing. Makes everything sound like Mahavishnu Orchestra. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to blend in the synth voice. And basically the synth voice just grabs waveforms from the other 4 voices and takes them and slams them together in all these weird phase configurations and adds some pulse width modulation and just a bunch of other nutty stuff. So there's 4 selectable synth voices, and each one has a slightly different tonality to it, and then when you select different voices, they will also change. So if you're running a synth voice 1, it'll sound slightly different with 1 octave down versus 2.6 octaves down on the sub. So we'll just start blending voices, and you can kind of hear what we're talking about. Okay, so we're going to start with just dry, and then I'm going to blend. We'll say dry, octave down, and octave up, and then I'll start blending in the subs and the synth voices. Okay. As you can see, when PJ was bending notes, all the lower octave voices track really accurately on what he's doing, and does make for some really cool effects as well. One other little trick that's in here on the sub voice is if you shut the sub voice off, you're basically getting what we call zero octave, which is sub voice doesn't really track anything, but the synth voice is still pulling waveforms off it. And you get some pretty just nutty stuff going on, weird lower octaves that can change and just do some nutty stuff. So we're gonna just let you hear some of that. So go ahead, Peach. Put the sub back in and you can hear the difference. Okay, one other thing we want to show you real quick before PJ has to go and play a gig is the ability that the Great Divide has to toggle between two different presets. And basically, as you see, while we've been doing these demos, I've been pressing a lot of buttons here. And what we're going to do is we're going to start with just the dry signal again, and we're going to build a very simple voice, which is dry, 1 octave down, and 1 octave up without the envelope, okay? So play a little bit, Peach. Okay, so up here is this clear button, and what this does is it allows the internal pick processor to store this preset. So we're just going to press it and hold it for a little bit, and now this preset is stored, so when you re-engage the pedal, it comes back to that same 3-voice preset. Also, if you power down, you're gonna come back and have that same preset as well. Okay, so there you go. And then what we've done here is you've got a second mode switch, and this allows you to toggle between two completely different voice scenes on the front panel of the pedal. So we've got this very simple voice, and then as PJ's playing, I'm going to toggle to a secondary scene that I programmed in earlier. And you could hear the difference of the two and how easy it is to just jump between two completely different sounds with this pedal. Okay, Peach, play a little bit. there you have it. That's pretty much the TWA Great Divide. There's a couple other little tricks inside that I'm going to tell you about in a little bit, and I'm going to come back shortly and show you how the pedal works with a bass. So I'm Kevin with Godlike. This is PJZ signing off, telling you, go get some Supermoon.